Good morning and welcome to the EPL Index Transfer Daily. It is Thursday, the 6th of June. So it's 2 days, people, till pretty much every one of the big nations confirms their Euro squad and their Copa America squad. We know a lot of countries have taken a big provisional one, haven't they? Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially England. We already know, as per the story this morning, that James Maddison will not be in the final squad. So we'll see who's cut from the various nations, which might also, at the same time, start the transfer stuff moving quickly because we know the window, etc., doesn't open until the 14th of June. However, stuff is moving. And with the theme yesterday being a few departures, it looks like there could be, depending on what comes to fruition, a bit of a mini exodus from Manchester City. Now, I'm not going to touch upon the court case, the rules, everything like that. But we know that Pep Guardiola is into his last year and there's suggestions are already known that he will not sign a new deal. We know that Kevin De Bruyne has spoken at length about Saudi being a great opportunity, etc., etc. And now, as a lot of papers had, both in the UK, Spain and others, that Julian Alaverz may be up for a departure, that he's looking for more minutes. So, again, it depends on what you want to believe. But Marca in Spain say that very much Atletico Madrid are in the mix. Fabrizio Romano has said PSG. And a lot of the various English sources have actually said that there's a Premier League club expected to be in the mix, of quite a few naming Chelsea. So it will be interesting to see what does happen with Julian Alvarez and his future. But yeah, could we be looking at someone like Alvarez, De Bruyne depart, and then obviously also question marks around City, but Pep Guardiola in the future? It's an interesting one. But importantly, sticking on that theme, the Telegraph have got a couple of things about City that Pep Guardiola will hold talks over his future. Again, we'll have to see what happens there because it was the Telegraph that led with he's not expected to renew. And the Evening Standard have got that Haaland has refused to comment on reports that he's extended his deal with City. Remember, we mentioned that quite a few days ago, so it's an interesting one. Speaking of things we mentioned a few days ago, Lenny Yoro's back on the block. An interesting one. That, according to Marca in Spain, United have joined Liverpool, so there's that interest from the UK end, and Liverpool's interest is well known, isn't it? It's been said by referenced in a lot of places. However, the Mail kind of pulls water over that, as a lot of people suspect the Mail is saying that a bid by United is unlikely despite the interest, and Real Madrid lead the race, which is interesting because he was at Wembley and a lot of people talked about that as being, oh, look, he's interested in Real Madrid. Again, a lot of people say, well, there's a lot of players at Wembley for the Champions League final, as it were. But the consensus seems to be that Lenny Yoro is the target and prefers Real Madrid. Other ones to keep an eye on, and we mentioned this yesterday about Conor Gallagher and Aston Villa, how they were leading the race. According to the Mail, Spurs are also set to rival him, and Chelsea have set that 50 million price tag. Now, he's got a year left to go on his deal. Obviously, nothing seems to have gone on. Pochettino talked about it loads. He's no longer there. You fully expect Conor Gallagher to depart like Mason Mount did with 12 months left this summer. Spurs and Villa seem to be the favourites. David Ornstein, as we said, mentioned yesterday that Villa had opened preliminary talks. Might be a case of one offers Champions League, the other doesn't, but one is based in London and the other isn't. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now, via the Mail, one player that was mentioned at the end of last season, but not at all, Alexander Isak, the Swedish international, the Newcastle forward who got a lot of goals last season in the Premier League. He'd been linked with Arsenal, but according to the Mail, the Swedish sources, saying he's enjoying himself at Newcastle just now. Enjoying himself, though, and staying are two different things. So that will be interesting to keep an eye on. Moving a bit into Turkey, though, funnily enough, Galatasaray are interested in picking up Anthony Martial. Forget, he's 28 years old. They left Manchester United like Varane on a free at the end of last season. but the suggestion is, according to ESPN, that he will have to lower his wage demands to make that move happen. Also, speaking in Turkey, the Besiktas, they were in talks with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we said yesterday, but they've now appointed the former Rangers boss, the former Arsenal player, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. So there is no job there at all. An interesting couple, if we kind of move to London, we're going a bit continental today, aren't we, people? So Fulham's Brazilian international, Andreas Pereira, he said he will not discuss, and he said this to quite a few Brazilian interviewers yesterday, so it's not really one source, that he will not discuss his future until after the Copa America, although he's looking at options. And that's important to say, because according to Team Talk, Spurs are very much interested in securing Pereira for their midfield. Sticking in England as well, and London, we know West Ham had the bid that fell through for Bruno because they hadn't agreed a contract. A lot of reports of now from Portugal and from Brazil, it's important to say, have said they bid around £7 million for the Brazilian defender Vitão. Now, he's at Internacional, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. A few things keep coming up as well. So Newcastle, Lloyd Kelly, released by Bournemouth. We're all expecting that. Sky Sports had that yesterday. We're also all expecting, as according to Football Insider, Queven Kelleher to depart Anfield, so that one's ticking along. A couple of Dutch ones here, and they both relate to Feyenoord. So Arne Slot has obviously left Feyenoord to become Liverpool head coach. Feyenoord's choice as replacement, according to 1908, a Dutch paper, is Graham Potter. Yeah, that Graham Potter. The former Brighton, the former Chelsea head coach, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And also, sticking in Feyenoord, and I'm probably butchering his name here, so apologies, Dutch fans, Lucharel Gertrude, I think it's pronounced, that can play right back, centre across the back line, but primarily a right back Feyenoord captain. He's of interest to 4 Premier League clubs: Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, and West Ham. So he's got a year left to go on his deal as well. Dutch international, it will be interesting to see what happens with him. But there we are, ladies and gents. That's what we're expecting. A lot of South American, European teams are going to be culling their squad, so maybe transfers get moving that way because players are free and outside international camp. So, Saturday is when a lot of official announcements will come up. And for the England squad, it'll be interesting to see what is happening around City, won't it, as well? But as you are on Thursday, the 6th of June, that was another EPL Index Transfer Daily.